everyone this evening to our transition to West Orange High School meeting. We're hoping this evening that we're able to provide an overview of what to expect when your children do come to the high school. Joining us this evening, we have counselors from the high school as well as the middle school to join in the presentation and also to address any of the questions and concerns that you may have. At the conclusion of this presentation, if you do have any questions or concerns, I ask that you reach out to the school counselors directly, or you can reach out to myself and we will be able to address any of the questions or concerns that you may have. Joining us this evening, we have Mr. Casale. He's a school counselor at the high school. We have Miss Rosen, Miss Millington, and Miss Furey. They are all counselors at the high school as well. We have Miss Peyragrosse, who is a school counselor at Roosevelt, and Miss Volpe, who is a school counselor at Liberty. Joining us also will be Miss Bryson. She's a school counselor at Liberty as well. This evening, we're going to talk a little bit about the differences between the middle school and high school. We're going to review the graduation requirements and explain the course selection process as well. At this time, I'm going to ask Mr. Casale if you could, tell us a little bit about West Orange High School and what the parents and students should expect.
Mr. Casale, before you start, I apologize. I did forget to mention that we are using the Q&A feature for our attendees. So at any time that you have a question, if you just push the Q&A button that's located at the bottom of your screen, you can type in your question and one of our counselors will be responding to that. And then the rest of the attendees will be able to see both the question asked and the answer. I apologize for the interruption.
Good evening. I'm just trying to, I lost my camera.
We can see you.
Oh, you could?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know where I am.
You're there. Oh, we may have lost.
We actually just lost him.
Okay. Let's see if he joins us.
He should be popping right back up. He was having a little trouble with his Wi-Fi before. Okay, so while we wait, is Mr. Casale back? Nope. While we wait for him to come back, once again, this meeting is being recorded, and we also have the Q&A feature located at the bottom of your screen. You can type in anonymously if you do not feel comfortable providing your name as well. Mr. Casale, there you are. I see you.
Sorry about that, everyone. Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Aldo Casale. I'm a guidance counselor at the high school. I've been at the high school for 18 years. So I'd like to welcome you all to the high school. What we're going to do tonight is we're going to kind of give you a little background information about what we do. Often what happens is we've noticed that sometimes students don't tell parents when they meet with us. So tonight's going to be a good opportunity for us to give you some information about what we do and what we're going to offer to your child. So I think for freshman year, some of the biggest things that, the challenges we see for kids coming from the middle school to the high school is, managing, it's a larger school. And when we talk to our freshmen, it's probably the first thing they say is, just managing the size of the school is always a big, it's probably the biggest challenge. The courses are different. Often we hear them say that there's a lot more homework and it's a little harder. So I think that's another thing we often hear, adjusting to the new teachers, the new rules, and even making new friends. Sometimes they're kind of used to a certain group of friends. So just meeting new faces from different schools, that's also a change. Next. So one of the things that some of the things that we talk to them about each year, what we'll do is actually during the first year, we're going to meet with with freshmen. We usually meet with them in October, and we're going to talk to them about we're going to talk to them about a bunch of things, but some of the things that we're going to especially emphasize is making good decision and managing their time. We talk to them about attendance, and I think one probably the most important things is making sure they learn how to take the initiative. I kind of saw it with my own child. I have my son's in 11th grade, so one of the things that I tried to emphasize to him was when he was having problems with the class or with the teacher, I really kind of wanted him to advocate for himself and kind of learn how to advocate for himself. Rather than get me involved. I mean, and I told him I would be there for him, but I wanted him to learn how to communicate to adults and where to find answers. And I think that's going to be an important thing. So, my that would be my advice to any new kids coming up. Just to have them learn how to like email a counselor if they have questions about their schedule. And what happens is, we work in the summer, so often eighth graders will email us, and they'll introduce themselves and they'll say, hey, my name is so and so. I want to change this elective. Is it possible? And I love to see that. For me, I think it's great because it's teaching them, self-advocacy and, just kind of learning how to communicate effectively with adults. Next. Okay, so we wear many hats at the high school. Obviously we're going to be academic advising. We're going to talk to your child about their classes and changing classes and scheduling. But we do a lot more as well. And what we do, and I know I'm going to jump a little bit ahead of myself, but each year we meet with our students, and what we'll do is we meet with them in a variety of settings. Like as a ninth grader, we'll meet with them in small groups. And at that meeting, we'll talk to them about, a variety of different things. We'll also ask them about, I'm going to speak for myself, but I think all the counselors do the same thing, is we talk to them about post-high school plans. And, I kind of like to get an idea, and I tell them this, I kind of like to get an idea of what they're thinking, about after high school. And often they smile and they laugh and it's a little too early. And I say, I know it is too early, but I kind of take notes on that. And I follow each year we talk about it. And, I kind of like to bring it up when I see them, in 10th grade and 11th grade. So, that's one of the things we'll do is we'll talk to them about, what their plans are after high school. And I think it's an important thing to discuss because number one, we'd like to help them if sometimes kids will say, hey, I want to be a lawyer. And what we'll do is, then I'll recommend that they take a law class, or, sometimes kids say, I want to be an accountant, and then I always like push them in the direction of accounting or business. And I think that's helpful. Like even for my own child, I look back at my own child, he didn't know what he wanted to do, just like probably most freshmen. And when I advised him to take like an architecture class just based on some of the things that he liked, and he took the class and he ended up hating it. And, it's one of the things that I kind of thought was a good thing. Cause I said, listen, right now, it's free right now. Education is free. So kind of figure out things that you like and don't like. You don't have to know today what you want to do in college or after high school, but kind of get an idea of what you like and you don't like. And these are the things that we're going to talk about when we meet with your child as a ninth grader. These are the conversations that we're going to have with them. What we're also going to do is we're going to talk to them about the importance of the GPA. Very often kids don't understand that the GPA is probably the most important, thing that they can take with them out of high school. The transcript actually is the most important thing they can take with them out of high school. So what we'll do is we'll actually show them a copy of a transcript, not their transcript, of a transcript. If you can go to the next slide, Miss Rosen. Oh, one more to the transcript. There it is. And we'll go back to that one. But one of the things that we'll talk about is this is the document that the colleges will see. And it has all the grades from ninth grade. This is just a sample. And we showed them all a sample, and has all the grades from ninth grade and the classes, the grades from 10th grade, the classes, and same thing for 11th grade. And in the middle of the screen, it has their GPA from ninth grade, 10th grade, and 11th grade, and then their cumulative GPA. And then what I try to do is I try to emphasize to them why their grades are so important when they're applying to college. When we go to colleges, if and one, at some point you're going to visit a college. If you ask them what's the most important thing that you can see of a student, they're going to tell you it's the grades, the classes that they've taken, and their GPA. So all of that is right here on the transcript. So that's why we think it's important to show them what a transcript looks like. And these are the things that we're going to talk to them about when we meet with them in ninth grade. If you can go back to the last slide. Yeah. Yes. So right here. So, obviously the other thing that we're going to talk about is, getting involved. I think that's going to be an important thing, starting from ninth grade, just to get involved, get involved in things you like. Very often kids, they want to do things that they just want to do. They kind of want to fluff up a resume. And for me, I think the most important thing they can do is kind of do things that you like or you think you like, and start adding that to a resume. And the resume is something that we're also going to talk to them about. And this is a sample resume that we're going to show them as well. And, and just one more thing I do want to bring up, and often this is kind of like, maybe parents don't see this side of the department, but each year we're going to meet with your child. So every year we meet with our ninth graders, every year we meet with our 10th graders, and every year we meet with our 11th graders. In ninth grade, we'll meet with them in a small group. It might be 1, 2, 3 kids, maybe 4 at the most. And it's great to have them in small groups because they kind of feed off each other. And they kind of all talk amongst each other rather than it being one-on-one. So that works for us. And we found out that, and we realized that works. So that's why we continue doing it like that. And then in 10th grade, what we'll do is this year we did like a career interest survey. We had them do sample, surveys to see where their interests were. We went to the classrooms and we talked to them about the surveys. And I thought it was awesome. I thought it was a great tool. And actually what I did was when we were done doing that with our 10th graders, I actually came home and I had my son do it. He's an 11th grader. They didn't do it in his school. So I had him do a couple of the surveys that we did in the classrooms. And I thought it was helpful. It gives them an idea of who they are, what their likes are, what their dislikes are. It gives them an idea of, what jobs are in this field. So I think, those are important things. And finally, we're going to meet with your kid in 11th and actually even in 12th grade as well. And at each of these meetings, we're going to give them a copy of their transcript. So each year their transcript's going to be updated. In ninth grade, they're not going to have anything on their transcript. So we don't give them the transcript in ninth grade. But then in 10th and 11th grade, we give them, and in 12th grade, we'll give them a copy of their transcripts in each of the organized meetings that we have. Another thing that we think is important is, like I said, getting involved in clubs and sports. I'll be honest with you. I think this is probably, for me, it's one of the most important things you can have your child do, because, I feel, and, I see this, doing this for almost 20 something years. I think that kids who are involved are typically your kids who are getting good grades, who are getting in less trouble. Sometimes we have parents come in and they tell us, maybe the first year I won't have my child play a sport, or I won't have him do much because I really want him to focus on his grades and his classes. And I always think that that's a mistake. I feel like that when kids are involved and they're doing things and they're around other kids, they don't have a lot of downtime. And sometimes that's a good thing to not have downtime. So in my opinion, getting involved in clubs and sports, or it doesn't have to be sports, and we have sports up here, but it could be music. It could be, something that's productive. I always think that that's a positive thing. So in order to play a sport at the high school, I think obviously there's no credit requirement for incoming 8th graders. There is a physical required for each of the sports, so make sure you're on top of that with the actual sport. And as far credits, and the credits, I wouldn't worry too much about the credits in the sense of they're going to be scheduled for enough credits to be eligible. But the key there is to make sure that they are maintaining a good academic standing, because they're going to be scheduled for a certain amount of credits, but they need to be in good academic standing. So this is the next slide is going to talk about we're going to talk about student athletes and the NCAA, and I think this is it's important as a parent to know where your child fits in this. If you think your child, if their goal is to play a sport in college, in the Division I or Division II level, there is eligibility requirements to register for the NCAA, or to be eligible for the NCAA. And it's something that we talk to our students about. We talk to them in our meetings. We'll often say, do any of you play any sports, or do you anticipate on playing a sport in college? And when they say yes, it's one of the things that we make sure that they're aware of is the NCAA, and meeting the requirements. And often meeting the requirements means doing well in school, and these are the things we talk to them about is they have to have certain grades to be eligible for the NCAA. It's not something that any college, doesn't matter how good the student is in the sport, if they don't meet eligibility through the NCAA, they will not be able to play that sport. And I've seen that happen. I've seen star athletes who for some reason can't pass classes, and colleges call me and say, hey, we're interested in so and so for this sport, and they want a copy of their transcript. And when I give them a copy of their transcript, often I don't hear from them anymore, and I know why, because they know that they're not going to be eligible. So I think one of the things, the messages that you can send to your child, and we will too, is that if you're interested in playing a sport, make sure you're maintaining good grades, because at some point you're going to have to register for the NCAA, and you're going to have to be eligible for the NCAA, and eligibility is based on the grades. So I think that's just an important message to send to them. And to be honest with you, even if they don't know if they want to play a sport, it's too early to sometimes, in some cases, it's too early to determine that. It's still, and that's what we keep doing, and you as a parent can also do, is to just keep emphasizing the importance of grades. And we always talk about the importance of grades, and this is just another layer of why the grades are important.
Okay, Aldo, I think I'm going to take over from here. Can everyone hear me? Yes. Hi, I'm Rachel Rosen. I'm also one of the school counselors at the high school. This is my 10th school year here. So what do incoming freshmen need to know? I think one of the biggest changes from middle school to high school is that there are high school graduation requirements. Not only does, oh, hold on, sorry, I think I'm having, is that better?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So you could hear me before that, yes?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So one of the biggest differences is that you have to meet not only West Orange High School requirements, but also New Jersey State requirements. So what does that mean? West Orange requires that all students have a minimum of 135 credits to graduate. Kids always get hung up on like, what does credits mean? How much do I have? Am I in good standing? We as the counselors, we monitor this very, very closely. So we're constantly, meeting with students each year to pick their schedule and reviewing to make sure that they do have all of the requirements that they need. So don't worry, that's not on you or your child. That's on us. But I think the biggest thing is that students need to understand that if you don't pass a class, you're not going to get credit for the class. So each class, a full year class, is usually worth 5 credits, and you take 8 classes per year. So 8 times 5 is 40, 40 times 4 is 160. So most students will graduate with more than enough credits, more than 135. Within those requirements, we also have to meet the New Jersey state graduation requirements. So that means 4 years of English, 3 years of math, 3 years of social studies, gym and health each year, 3 years of science, at least 1 year of a visual or performing arts, 1 year of a world language, 1 year of a career or technical education course, and then a half year of a financial literacy course. So these are just the minimum requirements. Many students, choose and opt to go above and beyond this, but in order to receive a diploma from West Orange High School, you have to meet these requirements. And again, we as the counselors are using these credit worksheets and tracking them very, very closely. We're actually meeting with all of our students currently to go over what they've already met, what they still need to meet, and to choose electives for next year. All right, so also there is a promotion policy. So I think some students come in and they think, oh, well, I go through the year and then I just move up to the next grade. And that's not always the case. You need to have a minimum of 30 credits to move on to 10th grade, a minimum of 65 credits to move on to 11th grade, and a minimum of 100 credits to move on to 12th grade. Something that's also very different from the middle school to the high school is that we have a very strict attendance policy, and you can actually lose credit in a class even if you're getting an A+ in the class due to attendance policy. So we take that very seriously. Students are not allowed to cut class. If they're absent, parents must email or send in an excuse note. If not, if they rack up too many unexcused absences or cuts, like I said, even if they're passing the class, the credit will not be given to them at the end of the year. All right, another daunting thing is our rotating drop schedule. It looks really confusing, it sounds really confusing, but the kids, honestly, they catch on within a few days, if not like a week at most. The main premise about the rotating drop schedule is that we have 8 periods that kids are scheduled for, but only 6 meet each day. So you can see there's 3 periods in the morning and 3 periods in the afternoon, and then we break for almost about an hour for lunch. So the same 4 classes rotate in the morning and the same 4 classes rotate in the afternoon. And we've found that this is really beneficial, especially for students who maybe aren't a morning person, so that they don't have their math class first period every single day. The other cool thing is that every 3 days, 2 of your classes won't meet. So it also kind of gives you a break, so that you're not meeting with the same class every single day for the entire week. We have A days, B days, C days, and D days. And so if a Monday starts on an A day, Friday is also going to be an A day. Classes meet for almost an hour. And like I said, we have almost an hour for lunch. So we really encourage students to use their time wisely, especially during lunch. All teachers are usually available to meet with students for extra help. A lot of the clubs or the sports will meet during lunch, as well as we as the counselors are always available in our offices during that period of time. And that's when we encourage students to come down to talk to us, to meet with us so that they're not missing class time. All right, so the course selection, like I said, it's going on right now with the high school kids, but you as 8th grade parents are responsible for choosing electives and also backup electives that your child would like to take for next year. We always encourage students to take challenging courses. So, working towards honors classes or even AP classes if they are an upperclassman. And, just even if you're not required to take the class, just encouraging students to challenge themselves and to take a really robust schedule. Electives are a great way to help discover things that you might be interested in or things that you might want to study after high school. I always tell kids, high school is going to be the last opportunity for you to take any sort of class for free. After that, you're going to be paying lots of money to take classes. So the more you can try in high school, the better off you'll be. We have one of the largest selections of electives that I've ever seen at a high school. So more often than not, if a student has some sort of interest, or they want to see what computer science is like, or they want to see what accounting is like, or they want to become a veterinarian, more often than not, we will have some sort of elective that touches on that subject. So students can try, and a lot of times there are many different levels. Like for instance, we have 3 different levels of architecture. So if you liked the first level, you can go on and take it for a second and a third level. And that's the case for a lot of our electives. So I always tell kids, try something new, rather than what you heard was easy, or what you heard your friends are picking. Really use the next 4 years to try different things. Even if you end up deciding, like Aldo said, like his son didn't like, I forget if it was accounting or whatever he tried, that's a win to know that actually this isn't something that you want to study in college, or post high school. That's going to help you in the long run. All right, so what does a typical freshman schedule look like? Well, 6 out of the 8 classes are most likely going to be fixed. So all freshmen are going to take English 9, biology, world history, math, PE, health 9, and most students will take a world language their freshman year. So that leaves 2 periods open for your child to take electives that they want. If they're not sure what they want to take, you could always start with trying to meet some graduation requirements. And that should be on the next page. The course selection sheet, which is linked here, and we're going to be providing this presentation to everyone, so you'll be able to click on all the hyperlinks. But on the course selection sheet, it'll say, like, the little money sign meets the financial literacy. The little A sign, the @ sign, that's going to meet your visual or performing arts. And if there's a 21 next to it, that's going to meet your career requirement. In addition to the classes that they're going to be scheduled to take, there are a few different small learning programs, small learning communities that we have available for freshmen. I will briefly go through each of them. They are application based. So if your child is interested in applying to one of these programs, the applications are due beginning of February. So ROTC is a really, really great program. There are different requirements. Students will be required to do community service, participate in different activities. They do have to wear their uniforms to school on certain days. They'll be required to participate in, like, raising the flag and lowering the flag. And it's just a really great team building leadership program. You don't have to have an interest in wanting to go into some sort of military or armed forces after high school. And it's just a really great community. I mean, we have nothing but positive things to say about ROTC. TCI, formerly known as AVID, is the Collegiate Institute. And what this program does is it gives students a period. So every year they have one period in their schedule called TCI, where they're going to work on study skills, on how to take notes, how to they go through a lot of the same stuff that we talk to each of the students about, like college and Navions, which I'll talk a little bit about. But this is for your student who maybe is kind of on the cusp, like they're not quite ready to dive into all honors classes. They maybe need to build up their skills a little bit. So this is just giving them like an extra layer of support in their schedule to help kind of just make sure that they're staying on top of their schoolwork and staying organized. And then we have 2 honors programs for freshmen. The first one is IH, Institute for the Humanities. So the requirement for this program is that they have to be recommended for both honors English and honors social studies, in addition to taking a full year of a humanities elective. And so the humanities electives can be anything from, fine, visual, performing arts. It can also include creative writing, cultural anthropology, and journalism. And then the IMS program, the Institute for Math and Science, also an honors-based program. Students have to be recommended to take both honors math and science. And then there is a STEM-related elective for that class as well for both years. So I always get the most questions about these two programs. What I like to tell parents is that if your child doesn't have a strong interest in either humanities or in STEM, don't apply for the programs. They can still take the honors level courses, just not in the IH or IMS sections, and they won't be required to do the specific electives that go along with those programs. If your child fits into one of those categories, they're really into the humanities and the arts, or they're really into math and science, then by all means, the programs will be really beneficial for them. All right, so it's never too early to start planning for your future. We linked everything here. So our program of studies is here. This is where you're going to get all of the descriptions for each of the classes, and then all of the other programs that we offer. So business and family consumer science. We have a really robust culinary arts program. We have several different state-approved courses for dual credit, which means that students can earn college level credits in high school, technology and engineering, and then an additional learning community which starts in 10th grade called the ICE program, Institute for Civic Empowerment. We also have a dual credit program with Rutgers for our health sciences. So all of those are hyperlinked, and you're welcome to learn, more about them on your own time and reach out to us as the counselors if you have any questions. Naviance is a program that you may already be familiar with in the middle school, but it's something that we will continue to use throughout all 4 years of high school. The main purpose is it's a post-high school planning tool. So as a senior, they're definitely logging in like every single day to, work on their college applications and request transcripts. But we utilize the program in all 4 grades. Like Mr. Casale said, we offer a lot of career and interest inventories on there. So they're almost like little personality quizzes that students can go in and take, and it'll suggest different interests, different careers that they might be interested in. We also use it to, collect data from students. So whenever we meet with students, we have the option to take notes or provide a survey. We ask them to give us information like, what do you want to do after high school? Do you have any possible career paths? Do you play a sport? So we're just constantly using it to, collect information about students and really help plan for their post-high school planning. In addition, it's the program that we will use mostly at the high school for communication. So you want to make sure that you are receiving the emails from Naviance, albeit that they may be coming through, very often, as we get so many emails as adults and as students, but this is really the main form of communication. So if there's something going on at the high school, we will blast it out through Naviance. So if you're not already getting the emails this year, just make sure that, you're signed up to get the emails and the communications when your child joins the high school next year by reaching out to their counselor. And I think Miss Butler is going to take us through the roles of the SAC, and then we will have time for any unanswered questions.
At the high school, we have 2 student assistant counselors, Mr. Cheryl and Ms. Headlam. Both Mr. Cheryl and Ms. Headlam, they assist or provide support to families who may be experiencing some social, emotional, mental health issues or concerns. They provide resources not only within the school, but outside referrals as well. They are an important part of our support teams within the high school. They serve on our crisis team, our 504, our INRS, our emergency management team within the building. They also serve as our anti-bullying specialists. At the middle schools, they work very closely with any students or any families who may have been working collaboratively with Mr. Yu this year at both Roosevelt and Liberty School. They meet with the SAC there to kind of bridge that gap. So when they come to the high school, there's that continuity of support and services as well. Next steps, what happens next? How do you and your children best prepare for entering the high school? During 8th grade, currently, the school counselors at the 8th grade level are meeting with your children. They are going into different classes depending on the school to meet with your children, going over a lot of the information that we have presented today, but in smaller groups. They are providing the applications for the special programs. If students meet the criteria for a particular program, they are making those referrals to the students and providing the parents with that information as well. They're talking to them a lot about what the courses look like. What are the courses that are offered and available to the students when they do transition to the high school? During the summer, well, right now, the students are getting that information. By the end of February, they will have selected their courses that they would like to take at the high school. If they're applied to any programs, by the end of February, they're going to know if they were accepted in that program and what the expectations will be. In June, about the first week in June, all students and the parents will receive a letter stating what courses the students have been scheduled for, the programs that they were in. It'll provide them with all of that information. That's usually, like I stated, comes out the first week in June. During the summer, we tell the students complete the summer assignments. Some courses, especially the honors courses, may require students to complete a summer assignment. We tell students to pay close attention to that, know what those requirements are, and they are counted as a portion of their grade that first quarter. So we encourage the students to complete those assignments as necessary. During the summer, we do have an orientation that is scheduled for all incoming 9th graders. Students will receive a schedule of that orientation. It's held over a couple of days so that all families have an opportunity to attend. If you're unable to attend the orientation when it's scheduled, that we can make a plan or make an arrangement for you to come in at another time. During that orientation, the students are provided with their schedules. They are taken on a tour of the buildings. They are have access to their locker. They are assigned a mentor. So it kind of gives them a jump start into the school year and provides them with the support or someone that they can kind of be supported with during their time at the high school. The high school schedules will be available in PowerSchool in August so that the parents can see them as well. We do send out a message to our families. It's usually about the second week in August that those schedules go out. We ask that the families review the schedules, and if there are any adjustments that they would like to make, any changes that they would like to make or discuss, those changes must be made prior to the first day of school. After the first day of school, changes generally will not be made until the end of the first quarter. So we ask that, take a look at that schedule, make any necessary adjustments before the first day of school. All school counselors are assigned to be in the building during the summer. They're assigned 10 days each school counselor. We ask that if you do have any questions or concerns, you contact the school counselor, and they will be able to address any questions or concerns that you may have. If the school counselor assigned to your son or daughter is not available, they can speak to any one of the other school counselors who are in the building throughout the summer. Students will know who their school counselors are in August, once the information goes out to the students, not in August, in June. We will send the school counselor assignments to all students. The school counselors, the students are assigned to school counselors alphabetically. So they are generally, if you have a son or daughter at the high school now, generally you're going to pretty much have that same counselor, but they are assigned alphabetically, and we do provide that information to the students in June. In this presentation this evening, there's a lot of information that has been provided. The information is hyperlinked throughout the presentation. Tomorrow, you will receive the recording of this presentation along with the PowerPoint presentation, so that you're able to kind of click on those hyperlinks to learn more about the various programs that are offered at West Orange High School. At any time, if you do have any questions or concerns about transitioning to the high school, you can reach out to any of the school counselors at the middle school, the high school, or even myself. On the last slide, there is my email address. Feel free to email me if you do have any questions or concerns, and we will address them immediately. At this time, if you do have any questions, please write those questions in the chat, and the school counselors will be available here to answer or address any questions or concerns that you may have.
Actually, just a quick correction, it's the Q&A. We're not using the chat. That's no problem. If the counselors want to put back on their cameras, so if we have any other questions, we can have them see all of you guys. Miss Rosen, if you want to stop sharing, you can as well.
Okay, I see a question here from Mr. Lewis. When is the staff available to respond to questions about the schedule? In the past, we've had trouble getting in contact because staff is out for the summer. We pick our summer days before the end of the school year, so that will go out in the mailing that goes home with the actual schedule. So you're welcome to try to get in contact with us on the days that we're scheduled to go in. We also keep all of our scheduled days in our automated email response. So if you email us over the summer, it should shoot you back an email telling you which days we're in. But otherwise, a lot of the counselors don't check email in between the days that they're scheduled to go in. We will tell you that as long as you reach out to us prior to the school year starting, we will make every effort to make a schedule change, even if we don't get back to you until the school year actually started. So just be sure to reach out to us.
I am available during the summer, almost the entire summer. If you email me with any questions or concerns, I will get back to you within 24 hours. If you email a school counselor and the school counselor is not responsive, please feel free to email me, and I will make sure that your question or concern is addressed.
So someone asked a question, it doesn't matter if a student takes a different language once they are in high school. So typically if you take a world language at the middle school level and you are performing at a C or higher, you could go on to level 2. I will say if your child is struggling in a language at the high school, say they're just getting by, they might want to reconsider taking level 1 at the high school level or starting a new language. Although high school, you only need to complete 1 year of a world language. If you are planning to continue on to college, many colleges want to see that the student has taken at least 2 years, if not 3, in the same world language. So again, if you have any more specific questions as it relates to your child with the world language, I would say to reach out to your counselor or someone at the high school, and they could kind of help you with that, make that decision.
There are two questions as it relates to students that have an IEP. At the same supports and services that a student has at the middle school level, they will have the same support at the high school level. So if your son or daughter has a social worker or a member of the child study team, case manager, they will have that same support at the high school. It will just be a different person. Someone has also asked about what student classifications are offered at the high school. Just about every classification. If you would like to contact me individually, see Butler at westorangeschools.org. I can have a specific conversation with you as it relates to that question.
Someone asked in regards to taking a math class over the summer. It is not very highly recommended for a student that is coming in to take Algebra 2 over the summer to skip into geometry. Have we had students do that in the past? Yes, but it's a very small percentage, and they would need to go through the math supervisor to get approval to do so. It is a very intense course. Typically, they take it at Newark Academy, and it's not a review class. You know, they would have to go and do a certain amount of hours that would cover what we cover in an entire school year within a short period of time. They would then have to come back and sit for our final exam within that course and score a B or higher to be placed in the next level class. So if that is something you're thinking about, I would say to reach out to the math supervisor for more specific information.
Someone has asked the question, what summer enrichment programs are available for incoming high school students? At the high school, we do have our Step Up program. Students are identified and are able to participate in that program. There are other academic enrichment programs that students can participate in, but Step Up is the only one that's offered at the high school. Generally, I always tell parents, you know, to research, just to do. There are different colleges or universities in the area that offer enrichment programs, summer enrichment programs, and we encourage students and parents to, you know, just actively search and look for a program that may be of interest to your son or daughter. We can help you through that process as well.
And just real quick, just to add to the parent who's asking about taking Algebra 2 in the summer, you know, just as a math, I was a former math teacher, and I think one of the most important things that, you know, I would look at for a student is just having a strong foundation. And often you don't get that taken in an accelerated summer class. So, you know, just be careful with that. Talk to your counselor and talk to the supervisor to see what they think is best. But, you know, even with your child coming into the high school with Algebra 2, they'll have an opportunity to take Algebra 2 in 9th grade, geometry in 10th grade, pre-calculus, and, you know, honors or regular pre-calculus in 11th grade and calculus in 12th grade. To have 4 of those math classes, that's pretty ahead of the game. So, you know, talk to the supervisor or the counselor about that if you need further information.
Someone asked, what are elective acceptances based on, or are they first come, first serve? This is a really great question because I think there's a lot of misconceptions about how kids actually end up getting classes. They're definitely not first come, first serve. So as we're putting in the course requests now, this is to help us create the master schedule. The master schedule is then based on how many students are requesting to take different classes. From there, the computer system actually kind of automatically schedules the students into whatever they chose as their elective requirements. And then we as the counselors go through each schedule one by one and check to make sure, you know, that they got the choices that they wanted, that everything fits together, that they don't have a double lab on the same day, and so on and so forth. Upperclassmen do get priority over underclassmen. So you know, a senior is going to get priority in getting the cooking class over the freshman student. Is that to say that the freshman student's never going to get a cooking class? No, we have ninth graders who do get the cooking class. But the way the computer sets it up is that, you know, priority is given to the 12th graders and then the 11th graders and the 10th graders and the 9th graders. And that's also to ensure that, you know, seniors are able to get the graduation requirements that they need. That being said, we give students and parents plenty of time to make changes to the schedule. So at the end of this year, you're going to get a copy of all the courses that your child is scheduled for. You can contact us and make a, you know, request to make a change at that time. Even when the actual Power School schedule opens up over the summer, like we said, if you contact us, preferably by email prior to the start of school with a requested change, we will do everything that we can to, you know, make that change. We will not accommodate schedule changes based on teacher request, based on period request, or, you know, based on a kid wanting to be in a class with their friends. But otherwise, we'll do everything we can.
Okay, hi everyone. There's a question here that says, does your requirement for graduation get affected if you change your elective during the school year? There's a variety of ways of that. If you're taking a full year of an elective, there's no way to drop out of it in the middle of the school year. However, if you're taking a half-year course like Art 1A and then semester 2, you choose to take another elective, then you don't have to finish your 5 credit for art requirement. However, depending on the program you're in as well, if the requirement requires you to be in a full year of an elective and you only took part of it and then you need the second prerequisite, it may be difficult for you to finish that credit requirement or elective requirement.
There's a question that says, can you help tell me what happens during lunch? That seems like a lot of students. It is. However, our seniors are allowed to leave campus. They have an open lunch, and many of our students, you know, they will go and they will grab something to eat in the cafeterias. We have 2 cafeterias and an auditorium. And then we have a lot of students that move around the building. Some go into the library media center, some meet with teachers. There's clubs that are being run. A lot of teachers are available for extra help during lunch. Some students will go and meet with their sports teams in a particular classroom. So even though it sounds like a lot of students, there is a lot of movement within the building during that lunch block.
Someone asked if tutoring is available, and if so, who do they contact? Yes, we do have several different tutoring programs. We always tell kids and parents the first line of defense should be the kid's teacher. Teachers are all available for extra help. It varies the times that they may be available on the days depending on duties, but if a student or a parent reaches out to the teacher for extra help, they can absolutely get extra help with their teachers. The other 2 things that we offer, one, we offer a writing center various times during lunch and after school, and we also offer a math lab during lunch and after school. So those 2 specific subjects are places that students can go to get extra tutoring. And then we also have peer tutors. So through the honor societies, through the Math Honor Society, the Social Studies Honor Society, part of being a part of one of those programs is that upperclassmen need to do tutoring hours for other students. So the teachers do a really great job of linking up, you know, students with peer tutors. You just basically have to reach out to one of us to ask if a peer tutor is available. And they are, you know, kind of first come, first serve. So depending on who's available, that's how it's set up.
Okay, someone asked about clarifying between honors and AP classes. So a student can come into the high school as a 9th grader taking honors courses, and all AP courses, since they're advanced placement, you will be taking, the goal is for you to take AP exam at the college level. So typically AP classes are all under recommendation of your honors course teachers. So most students would start taking AP courses depending on if they're, for example, at a higher level of math. From honors pre-calc sophomore year, they can take a AP stats. Most of the rest with the AP courses start junior year, like AP English, Social Studies, and so forth. But the difference is really you don't have to take AP courses, but most students can just stay on the trend with honors course and then perhaps consider AP courses based on interest in addition to the recommendation.
And honors courses are a prerequisite to the AP courses, or many of the AP courses. In order to get into the AP classes, students will need the honors courses depending on what track that may be. Someone has asked, how do we get more information about the Step Up program? Information will be going out about the Step Up program not until later on in this year, probably about, I think around April. But the students are identified based on teacher recommendation, based on school counselors at the middle school will be able to provide you with information once that information is out. It's based on students' academic performance as well. So these students are identified, and once they're identified, the parents are notified of their acceptance and when this program is held. The program is generally held the month of July. The students are required to come during during the month of July to participate in the program. But you can reach out to the school counselors, and they should be able to provide some basic information as it relates to the Step Up program and the requirements that have been for it. The AVID program. Our AVID program is the TCI program. I think that Ms. Rosen, she spoke a little bit about our AVID program. Ms. Rosen, if you could just go over that information again for the person who may have missed it.
Sure. So it's a class that's scheduled into your child's schedule each year. So a full period, a full year class. Typically the teacher follows the student for all 4 years. So if they have Mr. Norville freshman year, we try to get them, with Mr. Norville all 4 years. And that really gives the kids an opportunity to build relationships with the AVID teachers and use them as a support. We work very closely with the AVID teachers, and it's really just to help support them academically, socially, emotionally, and just help them thrive at the high school.
How do I request? I believe in regards to AVID, there's an application process, and that is in the PowerPoint presentation in the link.
Someone said, can you talk about the difference between being an honors math and honors science versus IMS? There really isn't a difference. The curriculum is the same for the honors math classes and the honors IMS sections. The main difference is that they are required to take specific electives each year and are required to do certain activities. So there might be like a field trip that they're required to go on, or like a special project that they're required to do in addition to being in that program. But the main thing is the electives. So your child has to make sure that they are interested in taking the electives that are required for each program. And if they're not, then I really don't see a point in your child being an IMS or IH if they're not having a specific interest in those courses.
If they begin in TCI and they do not find that they are getting much out of it, although most students do continue in the program, they can opt out to not take it, their sophomore year.
Someone's asking about when to take AP classes. The majority of AP classes are not available until you are an 11th grader. And this is based on teacher recommendation and also taking the prerequisites.
Someone had asked about the different icons, that the dollar signs, the @ sign, and 21st century. Once you receive the presentation, you will be able to click on the course selection sheet. It will be a document where these icons, you'll be able to see them at that time. You will receive the presentation along with the recording tomorrow.
Someone asked, is it possible to drop out of IH or IMS? And the answer is yes. Maybe not mid-year, because we don't really allow for those types of schedule changes mid-year. But if a student after 9th grade wants to come out of the program, they absolutely can. There will also be students that are not recommended or allowed to continue with the program if they're not able to maintain certain academic standings.
Are there any additional questions? I want to thank all for attending the presentation this evening. If you do have any questions or concerns after this presentation, I ask that you reach out to the school counselors, and they should be able to address any questions and concerns that you do have. If you're having trouble contacting a school counselor or getting a specific response to a particular question, please feel free to email me at cbutler@westorangeschools.org, and I will be able to address that question or concern that you may have. Tomorrow, this presentation will be shared out to all school counselors, and they will then share this presentation out to all of their families. You will receive the PowerPoint presentation, which will give you the ability to click on each and every one of the links to further review the information that has been provided. And you will also receive a recording of this presentation so that you can refer back to it as necessary. Thank you all for attending this evening. Have a safe evening.